Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and welcome to what is shaped up to be a very cool collab. Something I've been doing in my personal life for over 3 years now is every Wednesday I sit in my bathtub and I read a book and I have a beverage. Sometimes when I do this I just pick whatever book and whatever beverage are at hand, but sometimes I like to pair them up. And because of this tendency, I ask some people in the booktube community to pair up a book and a beverage and tell us why. And I am so delighted that so many people decided to participate in this. All the links to their channels will be listed down below, and there are so many books on this list that I now want to read. And also, I would be lying if I didn't say I was getting a little bit thirsty watching the footage. Get your mind out of the gutter, Susan. So without further ado, here are some books and beverage pairings.
Kathy, what did you message me with? So I am terrible at making decisions, so I picked 3 books. I only have 2 drinks, mostly because one goes with one book and the other goes with the other 2, I think. Hi, I'm Paige from The Princess and the Scrivener, and I'm the princess. I'm gonna recommend We're Gonna Need More Wine by Gabrielle Union, who's one of my favorite celebrities ever. This book is her memoir. It's just a series of essays dealing with race, sex, really tough subjects. It's a really good book. And I'm gonna pair it with pretty much any kind of wine, but the only kind that I drink is white Zinfandel because red wine is so bad. I can't do red wine, although I do think red wine would go better with this book. Partially because she's drinking red wine on the cover, and partially because there are red details in the cover itself. But yeah, definitely read this and enjoy a glass of wine because you're gonna need it. So I'm suggesting To All the Boys I Loved Before, which is a super cute book. It's by Jenny Han, and it is an Own Voices book about a young Korean girl, or half Korean girl in any case, just finding out that she wrote these letters to boys that she had crushes on when she was younger, and turns out somebody sent them to the boys, so she's dealing with that. It's a very cute book. I like this one more than the sequel so far, and I haven't read the 3rd one in the series, but I love this book especially. And I'm pairing it with Recruiterlig Wild Berry Cider because it's one of my favorite drinks, and it's super like flowery and, for lack of a better term, berry-ish, and I think it just kind of pairs well because they're both really cute. I am suggesting The Princess Saves Herself in this one by Amanda Lovelace. It is a poetry collection that deals with sexuality, being a woman pretty much, abuse, some pretty tough issues as well. I love this poetry collection so much, being the princess, you know, big on that, but it's also in a series that Amanda Lovelace has started. The next one comes out this year, I just don't remember exactly when. Yeah, Amanda Lovelace is a really great poet, and I am a big fan of this book especially. I got a signed copy from work because I'm special like that. I'm going to pair this with Recruiterlig. They kind of have similar color schemes, almost like opposite color schemes in a way. Yeah, this is my favorite drink and my favorite poetry collection. That's the main reason why I'm suggesting them together. I think as far as like the flavor of the drink and the flavor of the book, for lack of a better term, they're not super similar, but still enjoyable together because sometimes opposites do attract. Sometimes.
Hey folks, I'm RJ Beam from Premeditated Fiction. The book I want to recommend is called Time's Up by Jamie Mack. And the drink that is best to pair with this would be whiskey, preferably Jameson. Why? Well, Time's Up is about a young lady by the name of Macy McGray. She comes from a long line of police officers and lawyers, and her dad, who is a high-ranking police officer, sabotages her career, forcing her to no longer be a police officer, but to be a meter maid. And her family, this long line of cops and lawyers, they're all old-school Irish cops, and so quite often throughout the book, or actually the whole trilogy of books, Macy is known to be drinking a number of different things, but she always goes back to whiskey. So I think reading about this young Irish cop and talking or taking a drink from whiskey is a great pairing to pass your time. Hope you enjoyed my recommendation. See you later.
Hi guys, I'm Shelley from Collie of the Wobbles, and the book I want to recommend to you is Simon vs. the Homo sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertelli. I love this book. It is a queer book about a young man named Simon who exchanges emails with a guy in his high school named Blue. Sadly, somebody tries to blackmail Simon because they find out that he is gay, and they find the emails between him and Blue, and it follows this beautiful, wonderful email relationship that Blue and Simon have, and it gives me all the feels. And the beverage that I would drink to go with this has to be an Oreo milkshake. Simon is obsessed with Oreos, and I will read you my favourite part of this book while I make you an Oreo milkshake. Breakfast is obviously an Oreo granola bar or Oreo Pop-Tarts. No, they're not gross. Shut up. They're amazing. Lunch should be an Oreo pizza, an Oreo milkshake, and a couple of those Oreo truffles my mum makes. Dinner is a deep fried Oreo served on top of Oreo ice cream, and for a drink it's Oreo dissolved in milk. No water, only Oreo milk. Dessert can be Oreos straight up. Sound reasonable? I think I just met heaven. Cheers, guys.
Hi, my name is Jess. I'm from Me to You Video Photography and Book Reviews, and also from Just From You Services. I thank Kathy for having me here. I was supposed to come up with a book and a drink, and I had to scratch my head really hard and I couldn't think of anything until I looked at my shelves and all I could think about was coffee. I have Along for the Ride by Sarah Dessen, and the reason I have this one is because the main character, whose name I completely forget. It is, that's hot, Auden. She is visiting or staying with her father and his wife and their new little daughter down in North Carolina for the summer, and she is an insomniac for the most part and lives on coffee. She is a coffee addict, and I sort of am one too, only I like my sleep. So basically when thinking of a drink, I couldn't come up with an other than what I do is coffee, and I thought it went out really well. I liked this one. Auden and Eli are really good characters, and I liked how they played off each other. So if you are okay with a kind of a woman's fiction in a YA genre, contemporary romance type of thing, I say you should probably at least check this one out.
Hey YouTube, my name's Angel. My channel name is XOXO Angel Rose, and I talk about books and pop culture and my pets and whatever else I want to talk about. The first book I've chosen is Once and For All by Sarah Dessen, and this is about a girl, Luna, whose mom is a wedding planner, and so she works for the company. She's not so sure about this love thing because she maybe had her one great love in life and it didn't work out in the end. She meets someone, Ambrose, who comes to work for her mother's company, and he is just happy-go-lucky, and he is just a fun time. And so they make this bet together so that she can get out of her comfort zone and date around, and he can commit to one girl. The drink I have chosen for this book is champagne, and I personally love a good little bottle of Martini and Rossi. I think it's a great champagne. I chose champagne to pair up with Once and For All because it's a book about starting over, a fresh start, letting love in your life again, and getting outside your comfort zone. And I think that is everything that champagne sounds like. Champagne is a drink that you drink on exciting celebrations. You drink it at weddings to celebrate love and this lifetime commitment, and I think it's a really great drink pairing with a beautiful, fun, fluffy, lovey book. I also picked The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is a really cute chick lit book about two rivals at a publishing company, and they're both vying for the same job, and they hate each other, but what do you know? Things happen and maybe they don't hate each other so much, and it's really cute and just so fluffy and adorable. And the drink I have chosen for this is a Bay Breeze, which is a cocktail. Really any cocktail, but my personal favorite is a Bay Breeze, which is part vodka, part cranberry juice, and part pineapple juice. And like my first book choice also, it's just a fun, cute, fluffy book that gives you all kinds of feelings. It's chick lit, and I think a cocktail is as chick lit as it can get. I just think it's a really cute, delicious, juicy, sweet pairing of literature and liquor.
So one of my favorite beverages to have is peanut punch, which is a very popular drink here in the Caribbean. It's thick, it's delicious, it's filling. Get your mind out of the gutter, Susan. What I like about it the most is that it's a drink that really satiates me, which is a very difficult thing to do given that my stomach is a bottomless pit. Now, if you've been to my channel, you would know that YA contemporary is one of my favorite genres, but unfortunately, as of late, I've found that time and time again, a lot of them aren't really enough for me. They're too short for my liking. They don't satiate me like the peanut punch. You understand what I'm saying? But that was definitely not the case with I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter by Erika L. Sanchez. This is about Julia, whose older sister Olga passed away. We're following her as she uncovers some unsettling truths about her sister, as well as discovering herself in the process. Now here's the link, right? Peanut punch is a beverage that blends many different flavors together to give you, just like a really fulfilling drink, and this book does just that. Here we have a coming-of-age story that deals heavily with grief and mental health, a story about family, romance, and friendship, a story that implicitly and explicitly centers issues of race, socioeconomic status and immigration within the context of all of this. Sanchez manages to weave together all of these ideas in a raw and natural way to give readers a rich story full of nuance and honesty. I humbly suggest that you fix your lives by reading this book, perhaps with a cup of peanut punch to have while you're at it.
Hi, I'm Marita. I run a booktube channel called Rupee Soup with Pearl Juice, and I am on this collab to recommend Always Coca-Cola by Alexander Cheire, and I'm pairing this up with a beverage called, well, it says Pepsi Max, but it's any kind of cola brand, really. Coca-Cola, Pepsi Max, Lidl's Cola, anything goes, really. And this book is about some women's lives in Lebanon, and one of the main characters, due to its magical realist slant, has an obsession with Coca-Cola, and even when she's pregnant, she just drinks Coca-Cola all the time. And I'm also like that. I'm a Coke junkie, so that's why I want to pair these two up.
Ow! What was that for? I think she bit me because I got the title wrong. She apparently is a big fan of this book. Hello! My book and a beverage recommendation are I Hate Everyone But You by Gabby Dunn and Allison Raskin, and a cherry cola. And my reasoning for pairing these two is because there is a slight mention of drug use in this book, and Ava, who is the straight-laced one in this friendship that the book is about, is very upset that Jen, her friend, is openly admitting her drug use via email because she's worried that the school will read it and find out and suspend Jen for taking drugs. So she insists that they use a code, which is cherry cola. And so that is my book and a beverage recommendation. Hi. Okay. Yeah. You're gonna just, okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Dana Abercrombie and I want to talk to you about this wonderful book, Bad Romance by Heather Demetrius. And not only do I want to just talk about this book, but I think that this goes wonderful with this orange, grapefruit, and a little bit of honey drink. Freshly made, by the way. Now let's talk about the book first so that the drink makes some sense. The book is very simple. It's about this girl who falls magically head over heels in love with this guy. And she believes that he is going to be, as they say, the cat's meow. They're going to, have this relationship. He's going to be loving and kind and caring and always there for her. And then later it progresses into, oh, I'm going to get married with this guy and have babies. Imagine, this is all in her head and her fantasy when she meets this guy. And everything seems perfect at first. And they do have this attraction, and she really, really does feel something for him deep down inside. As the relationship progresses, it becomes very unfortunate that he ends up being a very abusive guy. I mean, mentally and physically. You got a lot of shoving, a lot of physical matches, and it's just one of those heartbreaking things. And the book is not just about an abusive relationship, but it's also about overcoming it and making your fractured self whole again and realizing that only you can do that for yourself. No one can make you whole. Not a person, not an animal, not a plant, not even your favorite food. Only the love that you have within yourself can truly make you understand how strong and wonderful and powerful of a human you are. And I think that this book is just amazingly mind-blowing in that way. And it's a book that everyone, no matter their age, should read. Now, why this drink? This drink is a grapefruit blood orange with a little bit of honey. Now, this is the reason why I figured this would be the great pairing. Now, honey, as you already know, is sweet. It gets you in real sweet. Well, at first. Ever heard the phrase, you'll catch more flies with honey? It's like the mask that this guy is wearing, because he's not at first going to meet her and just start beating her and being mean. No. That's not how you get into relationships. You're going to be sweet at first. Then it graduates into orange. Orange is not as sweet. Now, if you didn't get one that's like really ripe in the grape season, it's going to be a little bit tart. And that's how a relationship in this book ends up going. It goes from really sweet to a little tart. And then the blood orange comes in. Blood oranges are very, very tart. Some might even describe them a little bit as being sour, especially if you get them off season like I actually did by mistake. Mine was a little sour as well. So when you mix it all together, you'll have all these different tastes of sweet with tart and a little sour, which I think matches perfectly with this book and this relationship. Thank you, and enjoy your reading.
Hey Kathy, it's Amara in Seattle, and today I'm here with a book recommendation per your request. This is Perfume by Patrick Süskind. Originally it was called Das Parfum. He's a German writer. Perfume is a classic, and what's really cool about this is a book I'm recommending to you because it was recommended to me by a friend I was visiting in Melbourne. She actually bought me this book and I read it a little bit on the plane. Now why I'm recommending this book to you is a couple of things. It's a very interesting read as someone who writes because it is so well crafted and it's so visceral and so scent-oriented moreover, because everything about perfume is about scents. And it's interesting to see words become concepts that are recognizable in like nasal passagey kind of ways. It was a fascinating read, it was a fast read, and for a classic, it's like real digestible. So totally recommend this, was really glad I read it. And when I was discussing it with my best friend, he said, I wonder, is that Perfume like the movie? And there's apparently a movie version of this also. It is a kind of a read that pushed me a little bit. I love to stay in genres that are really comfortable, and classics always make me a little like, ah. So, what am I recommending you drink while you are in the middle of this murder? This is tea in a Stormtrooper cup. It's a Teavana comfort tea. That means it comes from Starbucks. It's comforting when you're in the middle of something that is uncomfortable. Also, because this book is so much about scents and smells, tea is so much about scent and smell, that I thought it was a good pairing to do tea and a classic. Also, because like tea and a classic. I also really love that this is an international book in a lot of ways. It's clever, interesting, and one of those reads that once you've read it, you kind of can reference it forever, so I'm thankful. It's one of my favorite things about classics. You read them and then you start to see that they are something referential that you can use kind of in life in general. So that's my choice, and I put it in the Stormtrooper mug because also murder. Have a good day.
I recommend the book T.S. Eliot's Old Possum's Book for Practical Cats, paired with a nice glass of milk.
Thank you so much to everyone that participated. There are so many new books on my TBR, some of which I have already read since you guys started sending in footage, so thanks. In the comments below, please let me know your favorite book and beverage pairing and why. Be sure to check out everybody's channels linked down below. On the way down in the comments, if you could hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you next time. Bye!
If you haven't already, hit subscribe and subscribe to Kathy's channel. It's full of booktube fantasticness, and she's a wonderful YouTube community leader, so show her some love. Also like up this video. Da 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 review da da da. Did you subscribe to the channel? That would be nice. Thank you.